Coming up, TIMA members in the United States organized a camp at the Tzu Chi Headquarters in San Dimas, California. Volunteers in Taiwan encourage people to save a life by becoming a possible bone marrow donor. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. We start today's program in the United States. Recently, the Tzu Chi Medical Foundation hosted a TIMA camp in hopes of strengthening and expanding their collaborative efforts nationwide. 236 TIMA volunteers gathered at the Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters in San Dimas, California, to exchange information about their operations, as well as to identify and refine SOPs in the hope of serving even more people around the country. Since its establishment in 1998, TIMA's medical outreach in the United States has been mostly limited to California. However, with an increase in volunteer numbers and the need for basic access to healthcare, the Tzu Chi Medical Foundation hopes to broaden the scope of medical services across the country.
Most of the challenges we always hear is they have no malpractice insurance. We used to have a restriction on the malpractice insurance, but now we have a national malpractice insurance to let them go out and do outreach.
Apart from exchanging their views and ideas, camp organizers also brought in a Tzu Chi mobile van for participants to take a closer look.
So I didn't realize that the mobile clinics take so much manpower and financial assistance and volunteers and doctors to come and run it. So it seems impossible to do, but it's really amazing. Hopefully New York can build up all the manpower and volunteer to one day have our own mobile clinic.
Biggest challenge is the mindset. Hopefully within 5 or 10 years, we're going to add another 10 mobile vans. And also we're going to build a few permanent clinics throughout the United States.
236 people from across the United States attended this year's TIMA conference. The theme this year is embracing a new era with compassion and integrity. To reach this goal, Tzu Chi will need to rely heavily on professional volunteers to provide a high level of quality assistance. But there is also another key component to achieving success.
We need professional volunteers, doctors, dentists, acupuncturists, but we also need non-professional volunteers because we need those volunteers to dedicate themselves to know the logistics.
To teach participants about the logistical planning of a medical outreach, TIMA invited volunteers from Fresno to share their experiences.
Because in Fresno, we only have 11 commissioners and one citizen, that is me, one guy. Okay? So we cannot do all the work. So we invite some of them, members from San Jose, Santa Rosa. In this event, we pull out close to 400 volunteers, including doctors. Okay? So anybody can help as long as we give them a chance and train them.
Some of the ways that non-professional volunteers can help out at an outreach can vary from when patients are coming in, simple thing as greeting them. That way they feel welcome, and that way they start to feel like they're in a familiar place. There's always going to be the booth where they'll learn more about Tzu Chi and its mission.
Part of the workshop, we explained to doctors how the outreach function compared to private practice.
I'm a cardiologist, and in the hospital, patients, they come to me. They ask for help. In the outreach, I'm the one to go to them to ask for help. I ask them the opportunity for me to improve myself.
Some of the Fresno volunteers even put aside their own personal time to attend the conference.
I was on vacation in Newport, Oregon, so I drove all the way down on Thursday, 24 hours actually, to get here because, when I volunteer with them, there's always that sense of joy and happiness, and I guess I just wanted to see if that was true for the whole organization.
Arena, you tired? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's okay because it's almost the end now. But do you learn anything?
I don't know.
What do you learn? Do you like the presentation that they do?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, from the young to the old, we hope that all these volunteers will learn from this conference and will bring back what they learned to their community and apply to their local outreach.
In Hualien, Taiwan, the Tzu Chi Foundation recently signed a memorandum of understanding with the Healy International Relief Foundation, with the two organizations coming together in partnership to prevent the further spread of Ebola in West Africa.
Recognizing the good work Tzu Chi has been doing to help the needy across the globe, today the Healy International Relief Foundation signed a memorandum of understanding in partnership with the Buddhist NGO.
I think the biggest thing that connects us is the intrinsic compassion and goodness that both of our foundations feel exist in every person, and the fact that every human being has a certain dignity that they're deserving of, regardless of background, race, or place.
Sharing news at the situation in West Africa with Master Zheng and Stephen Fumba, a native from Sierra Leone. Seeing the severity at the outbreak, Fumba decided to quit his job to join Tzu Chi's project in stopping the spread of Ebola.
Master, after watching so many videos of you and getting so many lessons from the brothers and sisters in the United States, and my trip with Honorable Stephen Huang in Haiti to see the work that you have done in Haiti in helping people, I am reassured that Tzu Chi is the best foundation to actually help my people.
Inspired by the Buddhist NGO's great love, Fumba decided to become Master Zheng disciple. The U.S. Tzu Chi Headquarters plans to launch a project to fight the spread of Ebola, while Master Zheng takes the chance to give some advice and her well wishes.
第一，要先把这种处理这个丧葬的简化一点、紧密一点，这是第一。第二呢，我们的东西到了，希望呢完全都给予这一群呢在病中的补给营养，给他们好一点的环境。
At the end of the meeting, Master Zheng personally hands over a Tzu Chi flag representing the start of the partnership between the Buddhist NGO and the Healy International Relief Foundation. In the days and weeks to come, the two organizations will work hand in hand to prevent the spread of Ebola.
In Indonesia, about 32 kilometers east of Jakarta, lies a massive waste disposal site known as Bantar Gebang. Close to the site is a school that has been named Rainbow World. The students who attend that school are not only impoverished, but their educational resources are almost non-existent. To help, recently a team made up of teachers and PTA members from Jakarta's Tzu Chi school visited the students, bringing new backpacks, stationery, and snacks to eat. Here's more on that story. Every day, 6,000 tons of garbage from Jakarta, Indonesia, ends up in Bantar Gebang. The residents who live near Bantar Gebang live off the site by scavenging. The preschool here is named Rainbow World, a name which sums up the hopes and dreams of the students and faculty. To lend a helping hand in fulfilling that dream, a team made up of teachers and PTA members from a nearby Tzu Chi preschool recently came for a visit.
Senang sih, bisa anak-anak bisa senang, bisa apa namanya ceria gitu.
We are so happy. The children are overjoyed at receiving the lessons the teachers brought. They are extremely excited today. Cutting the shape of a hand out of different pieces of construction paper, together teachers and students form a rainbow heart on the wall.
Karena kami percaya sebagai orang tua, guru.
I believe that as a parent, we are our children's teachers. We need to not only provide a good education for our children, but also be a role model for them to follow. This is why we have come here to care for these children.
Lebih daripada itu sebenarnya cinta kasih kita.
Pelajarannya pasti adalah saya merasa bersyukur banget anak saya bisa sekolah.
I'm very grateful that my child is attending a good school with good facilities and classes that are taught by outstanding teachers. Today, I saw the terrible condition the school is in, and I'm very honored to come here and share my love. Today, Tzu Chi has not only brought new backpacks, stationery, and afternoon snacks for the students, but also plenty of love and care to last these students a lifetime. Whenever a disaster strikes, Tzu Chi volunteers are always there to offer assistance. In Miaoli County, Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers helped 2 homeowners clean up their homes following 2 separate blazes. Meanwhile, in Yangon Province, Myanmar, Tzu Chi volunteers delivered much-needed relief to 204 families displaced by a recent fire.
In the wake of a merciless fires caused by an angry couple, 131 homes made out of nipa palm leaves in Block Yuan Village, Yangon Province burned to the ground.
We lost almost everything, but there's nothing we can do about that. We just have to bear it.
Upon learning of the scope of the disaster, the next day Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at the scene of the fire to gain a better understanding of the situation and residents' needs. Due to the severity of the tragedy, Tzu Chi volunteers took more than 9 days to get in touch with all the fire survivors. Soon after, the volunteers returned once again with much-needed aid. A total of 204 households received consolation cash and daily necessities from the Buddhist NGO.
I'm thankful to the volunteers because they handed out the relief items to us in a very respectful and efficient manner.
The Tzu Chi volunteers treat us like family, and their presence encourages all of us to be strong. I'm really grateful.
Regardless of the difficulties they have encountered, many fire survivors still donate their love because they know that those who are content are the truly wealthy. Tzu Chi volunteers' footsteps in helping the less fortunate also reached this home in Miaoli, Taiwan. Following a blaze, the walls of this house were left covered in black soot and its window frames beyond repair. How many people does it take to clear out the debris? A total of 5 strong men were on site to finish the task. However, they could barely handle the amount of heavy lifting necessary.
It is okay if we have to put in extra effort.
We had to mobilize a few trucks to get rid of all the unwanted items.
As the incident took place on the 3rd floor, Tzu Chi volunteers had to come up with a way to transport all the unwanted items to the 1st floor.
The homeowners will remain depressed if we don't help them clean up this place. We want to encourage them to put the tragedy behind them and embrace a new chapter in their life as quickly as possible.
After receiving the news that a temple is in need of assistance following a blaze, 30 Tzu Chi volunteers arrived to give the place a thorough cleaning. Touched by the volunteers' selfless dedication, the homeowner's granddaughter gives each a thank you card. Tzu Chi volunteers say the little girl's gesture has inspired them to walk with even more determination on the Bodhisattva path.
We begin the second segment of our program with news in the Taiwan area. Mr. Wong from Tainan once held a high-paying job in China. However, a sudden stroke not only cost him his job, but also his family and home. Thankfully, Tzu Chi volunteers' companionship has helped Mr. Wong regain his confidence and reintegrate into society. Now that he has found a new job, he often volunteers at the local Tzu Chi recycling station to reciprocate his gratitude. First, however, we go to Taipei City to meet Tzu Chi volunteer Lian Jianxing's 97-year-old father as he shares his recipes for happiness and longevity at a DaAi Mothers seminar.
At this DaAi Mothers seminar in Taipei, Tzu Chi volunteer Lian Jianxing's father, who is now 97 years old, has been invited to share his recipe for happiness and longevity.
As the old saying goes, a content mind is a perpetual feast.
How to handle mischievous children? Grandfather Lian's answer puts the volunteer mom's worries to rest.
You have to keep an open mind. This way there's nothing to fuss over and be upset about.
Each week, Lian Jingxing's children accompany him on a hike in the mountains. The peace and harmony of the family is a testament of the senior's wisdom.
He often tells us that happiness consists in contentment, and we should always harbor good and kind intentions. It is his way of telling us to be moral and upright people.
The senior is well aware of his children's filial devotion.
I'm so happy that my son joined Tzu Chi, now that he has retired.
Here at Mr. Ong's home, volunteers lend an ear as he pours his heart out.
My doctor told me that the stroke affected my hand. When my wife heard this, she wanted a divorce.
Mr. Ong once had a high-paying job in China. However, a sudden stroke not only cost him his job, his wife and children left him and he ended up on the streets. When Tzu Chi volunteers learned of his circumstance, they took him under their wings.
His right hand trembles and so does his left leg. If he had to go out like this, it will frighten people. How is he supposed to find a job with this condition? So we decided to build up his confidence first.
I told him the story of brother Xie Kun-san, who lost both his arms.
With the encouragement of volunteers, Mr. Ong slowly regained his confidence and found himself a job.
I'm really grateful to Tzu Chi for helping me, giving me encouragement, as well as food and shelter.
Although the job doesn't pay much, Ong cherishes the fact that he has a stable job and can now sustain himself. Now he volunteers at the local Tzu Chi recycling station whenever he has time, perpetuating the cycle of goodness.
Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers in the Yonghe District, New Taipei City, organized a bone marrow donation campaign at their local Tzu Chi liaison office. Upon learning of the meaningful cause, people from far and wide arrived at the venue to register in hopes to be a future donor.
Early in the morning, Li Zhenxun and his friend have arrived at the Tzu Chi Yonghe Liaison Office in New Taipei City to attend a marrow donation test drive. Li, who has been going meatless since last year, says becoming a possible donor is a New Year's gift to himself.
When a person is sick, he or she needs someone to reach out with a helping hand. I believe that person will be extremely happy when he or she finds a match.
Days prior to the campaign, Tzu Chi volunteers in Yonghe District mobilized to promote the event to passers-by. Knowing that doing good deeds cannot wait, Chen Shijie, a Tzu Chi from Malaysia, had happily joined the cause.
I decided to study medicine because I want to help those in need. I not only want to put what I've learned into practice, but also become a possible donor to help the less fortunate. I think being a part of this meaningful cause is great.
Another participant who seized the opportunity to join the blood test drive is Zhang Ziheng. After attending the event, Zhang realized the process of bone marrow donation is as easy as donating blood.
Donating bone marrow is not as scary as it seems. It only requires a little bit of our stem cells. It is truly amazing and meaningful to know that our stem cells can save a life.
I want to be like my husband and help a family. It is really amazing to know that donating bone marrow can not only save a life, but also a family.
With more people registering as possible donors, those waiting to undergo bone marrow transplant will have a greater chance to find a match that can eventually save their lives.
Many people are concerned about the safety of developing Tzu Chi Nehu grounds. To answer these difficult and technical questions, we go to the experts and scientific studies. Here are more questions and answers.
An aerial photograph of the Tzu Chi Nehu grounds shows that it is surrounded by hills on 3 sides. In the beginning, the area was a lake and eventually became a pond that was used for irrigation purposes. Later, the pond was filled in and the area became a private country club. It was being used as a bus depot when Tzu Chi purchased it in 1997.
The Taipei area is surrounded by fault lines, but the only one that really concerns us is the one that is still active, which is Sanjiao Fault Line. Though there is Jilong Fault Line, but just like the Kanjiao and Taipei fault lines, it is dormant and inactive.
Shi Ruiquan says the active fault line in Taipei, which is Sanjiao Fault Line, is 14 kilometers away from the Nehu grounds, so it is not a threat. And according to the 620th meeting report of the Taipei Urban Planning Committee, which happened on December 6th of 2010, an environmental survey showed that no fault line passed by the area, so such a question is invalid. According to an investigation conducted by the Mining Association, after drilling 5 30-meter deep holes, no mines were discovered underneath the southern part of the grounds. The nearest mine sits about 20 meters away. All new structures will at least be 40 meters away.
I see that the land you are developing or areas where you were planning to build structures do not sit on top of mines, so I think there is really nothing to worry about.
Of the 3 slopes that surround the Nehu grounds, only the hill that sits in the middle belongs to Tzu Chi.
There are 3 deep slopes that come towards the Nehu grounds on the north side of the topographic map. The first one is over here, which is the foundation of those 3 high-rises there. Though it appears as a slope on the map, in fact, it has already become the parking lot of the high-rises.
In the future, a road 8 meters in width will pass through here, and any building will be built 8 meters further in, which makes a total safe distance of 16 meters.
那这个山丘的那个顺向坡是向着南的方向，也是在我们基地外，也不是我们。
The second deep slope actually sits outside of our plot, so it's not for us to manage. The third deep slope comes down from the hill that sits between the northern and southern plot. As the slope faces towards the west, instead of the northern plot, we will just keep the hill the way it is. Nothing will be built there.
The question that everyone is most concerned about, the stability of the lake-filled land, is answered in a geography survey.
Many experts claim that there is a risk of mudslides because this area used to be a lake. Well, it is something hard to argue against. We can neither say yes or no. However, the deposits underneath the ground will show us the real answer. So, will there be mudslides here in the future? Our findings show that there never was any mudslides here. Through studying the deposits within the earth, there just was no evidence of mudslides.
If you have visited the Tzu Chi Nehu grounds in Taipei, you would have noticed that the 4.48 hectare piece of land is surrounded by shrubs, flowers, and trees. This is thanks to a group of some 30 volunteers who help to maintain and beautify the gardens on a daily basis. Let's take a look.
Here at the Tzu Chi Nehu grounds in Taipei, a group of volunteers ensure that the gardens and landscapes are beautiful and unique.
The plants that have been poorly planted, after some trimming, we will replant them, so to give them a second lease of life.
How to give these withered plants a new lease on life, these volunteers know just the way.
If the soil quality is poor, we need to replace the soil for the plants to grow.
Throughout the Nehu grounds, one can see many different species of colorful flowers and plants.
The grounds are basically tin shacks and cement roads. These plants help add vitality and color to the premise.
Although these volunteers may not be horticulturists by profession, however, their love for the nature and environment can be seen through the beautiful and green landscape they have created at the Tzu Chi Nehu grounds.
At the end of the show, we go to Banqiao, New Taipei City, as Tzu Chi volunteers come to the rescue of a single mother who lost all her belongings in a midnight fire. Volunteers not only helped clean up the debris from the fire, but also plans to continue their love and care. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.